Okay.
Where did the name Khrysis come from?
I was a kid. I was like 17, 18 years old. I was doing radio shows after school at North Carolina Central University, the AudioNet station. And this comedian named Talent came in. I don't know if y'all familiar with him. It's just cool. So I had to do an interview with him, and I was just trying to like come up with a stage name. And I was just like, I was real hyper and erratic when I was a kid. So, so he's like, yeah, you should go with Khrysis. Just try to flip away and try to play with the word and bounce it around. And I just wrote down different ways to spell Khrysis, and Khrysis stuck out to my head. So I just kept it.
So describe your hustle up to this point with being with Ninth Wonder and what, that journey to get to this point.
Wow, it's been a long one. Like I said, I met Ninth back in 2000. And it was just all through I was making beats, and Sean Dawn introduced us back in like 90. Yeah, right when I graduated high school is when Sean Dawn introduced us. And then when I went to Winston-Salem State. And I want to say probably like the second second semester, I was going to the cafe to get something to eat, and I saw him walking by. I was like, P, right? He was like, yeah. You still making beats? Yeah, I'm still making beats. Let's go hear some beats. So we just went to the room, and we just kept in touch ever since then. I got into a little trouble while I was out there. Ended up having to move back home with my parents. I turned on a Duke radio station at 8.9. Heard this really dope record. And then I hear him talking, which actually, ironically, ended up being a Sean Boog record, which me and him ended up being a group as the away team after I got voted into the Justice League. This is like 01 now, and I heard him talking after the joint, so I called him up. I called up the radio station like, yo, it's Khrysis, man. I just heard you on the radio. It was good. He's like, yeah, come to the studio. So he had Fonte pick me up. Fonte picked me up. He was actually staying around the corner from me at the time. And we went to Raleigh, into Missy Ann's studio, which was Comanche's house at the time. And they were recording the interlude Home for the listening at that moment, at that night. So I had to take my little brother with me and everything. Like, yeah, for real. It's like, yeah, you can't go without your little brother. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was young. I was that young. I was like 18, 19. So, but yeah, like from there is, after that was the whole Justice League thing, and of course everybody knows how that ended up. And, I want to say after time, me and Knife, we got up, we had a talk, and he asked me to join Jamla. So here I am.
So you were just talking about, you've been in a away team. How's the transition been, like, from being a member of the away team to doing solo projects?
Well, I've kind of been, while I was with the away team, I've actually been, he started working on solo projects, and I started working on solo projects. So I was already working on a solo project already. I've probably been working on this album, the Hour of Khrysis. I've been working on that for like 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So, it's pretty smooth because we already used to working with and without each other. So, that's what it is.
How did you like working with Sean Price?
What's funny? What's funny? I'm wearing this shirt right now. Sean Price changed my life. He changed my life, man, for real. Nah, like that was crazy. It was really like that first when we did On Your Head, man. That joint was like a dream come true. It was real surreal because it was also the same week that Ninth and Buckshot was working on Chemistry. So I think Drew Hod, we all did it. We all went to Missy Ann. Drew Hod drove everybody down in the Duck Down van. It was Sean Price, Smith & Wesson, and Buckshot. And they all just drove down, and we were just at Missy Ann, just, cutting the fool and cutting records. You know what I'm saying? So smoking out with Sean Price in the van. And man, it was crazy because he wrote On Your Head in like 15 minutes. And you know what I'm saying? And we just knocked that record out like that. It was real easy. And then of course, you know, after that, man, he was just calling me his go-to guy. You know what I'm saying? So for that album, we just did Bye Bye and Onion Head for that album. But then when he came down to work on Jesus Christ Superstar, basically he had me set off the album, set the tone for the record. So I did like half that album, and then Knife got a couple joints on there, and then I went and got Ill Mind to give him a couple joints and all of that stuff. So yeah, I mean, it was always fun working with him. He's picky, but I always had that one that way. He can be picky sometimes, but it would be like the first beat, he'd be like, hell yeah. And then the next 5 beats, he'd be like, nah, that one. You know what I'm saying? So we would just knock him out like clockwork, man. And then, you know, he had stories galore too. So it was always fun working with him, man. Funny dude, man. It's still hard to believe that he's gone, man. But yeah.
You're gonna miss him.
I miss him. I miss him already, man. I miss him already. I missed him. Dude, this is crazy.
Hey, who was your biggest inspiration in the game?
Making beats.
Yeah.
I'll say my first huge inspiration. I mean, they all changed after a while as I grew as a producer. But my first big inspiration was DJ Premier. After hearing Illmatic and, you know, everything that led up to Moment of Truth, and after, you know what I'm saying, and then came Pete Rock, and then came Dilla, and then, you know, I was a RZA head too. Before it was Pre, it was the RZA. I wanted to be the RZA, bad as hell. And then when I started making beats, I was trying to, you know, I figured that, you know, I was just learning by listening to Preem and listening to Pete and then listening to Dilla, and then, you know, following cats like High Tech, Knots, and people like that. You know, so it was just a whole lot of listening to, you know, just the sound and the music in general. Just knowing, like, when I was hearing, I would start sneaking through my dad's record collection when he wasn't home. He would kill me if he found out. You know, at the time, it would be one of those things where if he saw me going through his records, he would kill me. So I would wait for him to leave the house. And then I'd start going through his record collection and start recording them on tape. And by the time he got home, I got like 3 pause tape beats done. He wouldn't even know. But I started hearing records that were sampled from a lot of my favorite producers when I was going through his records. Like, you know, the Ahmad Jamal joints and stuff like that. I think it was a Blood, Sweat, and Tears record that like Pharrell used for the clips on their first song, The Funeral. I found that in his collection. I found Shit Is Real by Fat Joe in that collection. I started finding all types of stuff, man. I even found the Mandrill record that Madlib used going through his records. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So since we're talking about, you know, the records that you know, found, what's your favorite genre to sample from?
Wow, it's not even a genre anymore. It's more just like sounds, just certain sounds that I'm looking for. And I look for a lot of, nowadays I'm looking for a lot of like oddball type melodies and harmonies and even sounds. Like, you know, I like a lot of keys and stuff. Like, I like a lot of keys and synths, and I like certain harmonies and melodies and just stuff that I could really, it's, you know, stuff that's open so I can have options. If I want to take the record here, or if I want to take, you know, if I depend on who I'm making the record with, you know what I mean? All right, let me just make something quick, and then boom. All right, now I'm just call this guy, play some keys on, call this guy, call up somebody to play, you know, play something on it, or, you know, and just build a record. So it varies. It depends on what I'm going for and who I'm working with.
How did you like working with Master Ace?
Oh man, that was my first placement. So of course I like pooped my pants when I heard about that. So, cause it was crazy. That was like my first rap check ever. And it was crazy how it went down. Cause I was getting ready. He was doing a show at the Lincoln Theater, and me and Boog was opening up for him. And of course I'm running late. And so I had this. So Knife and Boog went to sound check for me, and next thing I know, like, I'm putting the last part of the show CD together because I'm running late like a jerk, and 'cause I'm running late like a jerk, and 'cause I'm running late like a jerk, 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 'cause I'm running late like a jerk And I get a call, Knife calls the house. This is when me and Knife were living together. So Knife called the house and he's like, yo, bring a beat tape because Master Ace is asking about you. I was like, word, make sure you bring a beat tape. Cool. So we go out there, we do the show, I dap him up. He's like, yeah, here go the beats you've been asking about. Boom, boom, boom. Next thing I know, I get a call a couple weeks later, like, I guess, so I want to say maybe a couple months later. And he's like, yeah, I'm using the record. It's going to be the first single. Boom. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, you pick up your check here. It was dope. It was dope. Like, that was like the dream come true out of everything. So that's when I felt like I finally got a job. You know what I'm saying? So. Yeah.
What's your studio look like? Does it look like a back cave? Like,
I mean, I work out of Bright Lady. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's a nice creative environment. I could use a window, but other than that. but see, at the same time though, like, you know, thank God for technology, because if I want to, man, I could pull up right here and I could just pull out my laptop right here and start making beats. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, like, the world is my studio at this point. You know what I mean? So it's cool. It's cool. If I need to move somewhere else, or if I need to, like, you know, I'll sit in Starbucks and mix records all day. You know what I'm saying? Jacked up off coffee, but be all right. You know what I'm saying? It's nice to, you know, just take in the environment around you and just, you know, that helps. It helps.
So what is Khrysis' signature on a beat? Like, you know a Ninth Wonder beat, you know a Justice League beat, you know a For Real beat and a Timbaland beat. How do we know that this is a Khrysis beat?
Probably mostly in the texture of the beat. You know what I'm saying? You'll probably hear something different. It'll be, you know what I'm saying? Like I try to put my personality into the music as much as possible if I'm allowed. You know, you'll hear the way the break hits. It's the bounce. It's mostly in the bounce. You know, because a lot of times, you know, I'm always using different sounds and I'm always trying to find something different that, you know, because Knife is gonna hit you one way, Eric G's gonna hit you one way. You know what I mean? Cash is gonna hit you one way, Amp is gonna hit you in one way. Me, Knox is gonna hit you one way, High Tech is gonna hit you one way. So like, I'm trying to, whatever they're not doing, I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, because I'm just trying to really add variety. Because like I said, I'm expanding genres beyond hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like I was working on this R&B record that I'm working on. I don't know if I could tell y'all about that yet. I want to do like a rock album at some point. You know what I'm saying? I use a lot of jazz. You know, it's different. It's different. Like you kind of really got to pay attention. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right. So what is your opinion on the state of music as it is right now?
I think it's in an awesome place. And if anybody who opposes, they're not, you know, they're not listening. They're not paying attention. You know what I'm saying? If you're still looking if you're still looking for new music on the radio and TV, you're stuck in the 90s. Technically, you're stuck in the 90s. Not musically, but technologically, you're stuck in the 90s because it's not, you know, if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty of it, real hip hop was never really in the forefront. It never was. You only got it 2 hours a day on Rap City, and you might have got it on Mix Show at night or at night on the weekends. And that's if you were at home. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and if you were young, if you were my age, that's if you were allowed to stay up that late at night. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So it was always been hard to find. It's just a little bit harder because now there's no TV, there's no video shows on TV. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know too many people that sit there and have a TV on Revolt or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or what is it? I think it's called BET Jams now. It used to be MTV Jams, but I don't know anybody who watches that all day. You know what I'm saying? Anybody cutting on the TV, they looking for something else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, the radio, they have, you know, they've been bought out. The radio's been pretty much been bought out by corporations. And they have to play those records because they're trying to get people to listen to those commercials. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, everything's on the internet now. And, you know, if you're not looking in the right places, of course you're not going to find it. But it's enough of us on the internet that can network with each other that, you know, and there's enough music to go around right now for us to be satisfied. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you kind of can't get mad if you're not willing to look or find something new. You know, you can't get mad about that if you're not willing to seek what you're looking for. So with me, I'm satisfied. I love where music is at right now. You know what I mean? Because not only do we have, we have a nice balance of artists to choose from. You know, if you want, you know what I'm saying, if you want your trap, there's somewhere you can go. If you want, I guess what's called real hip hop, there's somewhere you can go for that. If you want your good R&B, there's somewhere to go for that. And there's a lot of stuff that's kind of blending into, there are certain multi-genres of stuff that are blending into each other. Like, like cats like Anderson, you know what I'm saying? Because, he does it all, you know what I mean? So, with people like that around, and then, people like us around, how you, I don't understand how anybody can get upset about the state of music. They just don't want to hear nothing new. You know what I mean? They want the same old thing over and over again. So I don't think it's really the state of music. I think it's the state of fanship that might be messed up.
Why is real hip hop in quotations?
Because what is real hip hop? Okay, because what is real hip hop? What is it?
Why did you exclude R&B from hip hop? Why did you exclude R&B from hip hop? Like earlier when you were responding to a question, you were saying if you want
if you want that,
hip hop, you want the Rap City. And for a lot of people, hip hop is a culture. I mean, it involves graffiti. The art of turntables was just here. It involves doing that.
I guess probably out of habit. Because, when I'm talking about hip hop, I'm talking about music. I understand the culture. It's more or less out of habit, just so people know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because you cannot be rapping and still be doing, you could be singing and still be doing a hip hop record. You know what I'm saying? So, just out of habit, yeah. But, yeah. What's up with saying?
What's real hip hop? Why
What is real hip? Yeah. What is real hip hop? Why do I put real quotations in hip hop? Because, okay, to somebody in the West Coast, if you ask somebody from the Bay, E40 is real hip hop to them. But you can't take that to New York and sit here. You can't go to New York and tell them E40 is real hip hop. They'll look at you and laugh. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just not what they grew up on. You know what I'm saying? Back then, you know what I'm saying? Same thing in Texas where UGK is real hip hop. You know what I'm saying? But then you got New York where Gangstar is real hip hop. But it has all these different forms. It's real. It's all. You go to Atlanta, Outkast is real hip hop. It has many different forms. So that's why I put real hip hop in quotations, because people will sit there and say real hip hop, and then they'll name real hip hop acts. But then somebody else over there, you can't name a real hip hop act to you without disagreeing with somebody else. That's why I think it's all objective. You know what I'm saying? So, it's per who you talking to, where that person grew up at, and the year, and what years they are. You know what I'm saying?
So what's real hip hop to you?
Well, to me, it's just good music, and you coming from an honest place. You know what I'm saying? If you coming from an honest place, and your music and the music is good, and you carry yourself in truth, that's real.
Being a producer, I know you work with a lot of gear and equipment. Compared to like your first piece of gear that you worked with, what do you prefer now, and what's your go-to for your sounds and your music?
Native Instruments Machine is my now. I started with Fruity Loops. I started with a demo version of Fruity Loops back in 2000, till I met Knife, and that's when he saw it. He was like, "How are you doing that with this?" You know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't really too fond of Fruity, and then he saw me with it, and then he was like, "Oh, well, hold on, I got a homeboy that got a full version of it." He gave me that, saw what I could do with it, and then he came back a couple weeks later, like, "I finally made a beat on Fruity." It's like, "Oh, okay, well, let's see what you," and he rocked it. And he rocked it, so, which is funny. But then after that, I had an MPC 1000, I got an ASR 10, and then I went to Reason, and then I got Machine. And what I'm using now is I'm using a hybrid of my Machine and my ASR 10. So it's a little bit of both mixed in with each other. You know what I'm saying? The ASR gives me that nice old school analog sound that I like, and I can combine it. I can control it with the machine. And that gives me, you know, that gives me my space. That's like my canvas right there. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, what's dope about it is, and I still use the old machine too, which is cool because, you know, it forces me to, anybody knows what that means. You know, other than or any other beat makers, you know what I'm saying? You know how you get track space and all of that stuff. You only get 8. So you get, which, you know, you got your drums, which could take up to 2 or 3 tracks. Maybe 4. And then you got your sample, and you got your bass line and some keys. You only got like 2 more tracks after that. You got to make it work. You know what I'm saying? So, and you know, I think that limitation really forces my creativity to pack in everything I need to pack in at once. You know what I'm saying? So, that's why I love it. Plus, it just I like the physicality of, you know what I'm saying, like making, like the music feels alive when I'm tapping it out as opposed to clicking on the mouse. You know what I'm saying? So it feels alive. I can, you know what I'm saying, I can make things move the way I want it to. You know what I'm saying? It's just real easy access, and just for everything. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Do you need to cut the interview short so you can eat and not kill me?
I ain't gonna kill you, mom. I work.
Hey,
But it's
before you go, what are some of the newest projects you got working on, and when are they coming out
fine.
that you can talk about?
That I can talk about. I mean, of course, you know, I mean, you know, I've been working with Rhapsody, so I can't tell you about that, but I can't tell you when it's coming though. See, I'm working with Moo Fresh, which is that's gonna be like a Soul Council project. We're all chipping in on that. And then Motherfunker, that's my beat tape that's out now on my website, Khrysis.com. I'm working on a project with